So good morning, good afternoon and good evening everybody, wherever you are in the world. Thank you for joining us for this webinar on increased project management excellence with agility powered by SharePoint. So just a quick intro of who's who within the webinar. So my name is Warren Marks. I'm the CSO of GTconsult. I'll be hosting today's session, accompanied by none other than Craig Tarr, who is our COO and one of the co-founders of GTconsult, the brains behind agility and the development of the solution we're going to be showing you today. Melinda Morales, straight out of our Bellevue office, is one of our account managers, comes with years of project management experience, so she'll be taking you through a little bit around project management and things to look out for. So, quick intro on who GT is. We've been around for about 4 years. Our offerings really focus around the SharePoint space from a consulting perspective as well as solutions. So we do everything really end-to-end from deployment, design, collaboration, the governance side, all real in-house consulting, as well as packaged a number of solutions through our Academy and A-team, as well as products that we take to market through a number of vendors that we feel are best of breed. We are based through offices as well as our partner network worldwide, and I'll take you through where our locations are, but really what we want to cover today is our GT solutions, and the majority of which are powered by Nintex. And what we've done is we've built business process automated solutions that are packaged for resale. So instead of building these products from the bottom up, which are generally quite lengthy engagements, we've got products that we can deploy in under a week to meet those business requirements. And we're going to show you one of those products today, which is predominantly focused towards project management. We've got offices in the US. You'll find us both on the West Coast as well as East Coast. We around South Africa as a whole, across the 3 major cities. We've got presence in the United Kingdom through a partner channel, as well as the United Arab Emirates. So we really cover just about everywhere around the world. We've got some form of presence. Our business is made up of 35 developers. The team has grown substantially over the last number of years. We've got 63 and over 63 now happy customers, and 100% of dedication. We really look at bringing top-level solutions out to our customer base worldwide. So let's go through the agenda for today. We're going to start off with project management excellence, which is going to be run by Melinda. Some customer experiences and an agility demo, which Craig will take you through, and then some Q&A. So please feel free at any stage to post any questions through the chat window, and we're going to keep 10 to 15 minutes at the end of the webinar where we'll answer all of those questions for you. So without any further ado, I'm going to hand over to Melinda to take it away.
Thanks, Warren, and welcome everyone. Thank you so much for joining us today. To get started, we'll take a look into the importance of achieving excellence in your organization's project management practices. So according to the Project Management Institute's 2015 report, Pulse of the Profession, when we aim for excellence and implement solid project, program, and portfolio management practices, we're able to really reduce risks, cut costs, and improve success rates. A very effective way of achieving these benefits is to establish a project management culture, and we'll take a look at the benefits of that. As technology edges its way into our day-to-day business practices, the need for standard project management practices becomes more and more critical. By working towards establishing a project management culture, you can start to foster a wide understanding of key practices and tool sets for anyone in your business who may be or end up being in charge of a project. Looking at project management from an enterprise perspective will make sure that everyone in the company speaks the same language, through standard practices, and an awareness of what project management means to your organization as a whole. Again, taking a look at the PMI report, we gained some insights into the importance of a project management culture. When a project management culture is established, we see an overwhelming increase in the recognition of the value of project management, which makes it that much easier to achieve project management excellence. Through our PM culture's increased visibility and common language, we see increases in actively engaged sponsors and alignment to corporate strategy as well. And then, of course, aiming for that excellence marker, we definitely see a jump in overall maturity for project, program, and portfolio management. In today's diverse, fast-paced corporate environment, we're often pushed to deliver quality projects with less time and budget than ever before. Fortunately for us, technology is giving us new ways to think about how we work together in order to keep up with demand. So whether you're a seasoned project manager or you've just been handed your first ever project, which we know happens quite often, there are tools at your fingertips to help you successfully execute. By making the most out of your company's investment in SharePoint, you can capitalize on the platform's ability to foster collaboration and communication. SharePoint is awesome, of course, and can help you establish your project management culture and also serve as your tool set for achieving project management excellence. Even out of the box, you're able to affect several areas critical to project management success, such as the things that are illustrated on the slide right now. By expanding on these core functionalities, we can make even more impact. And with that, I will go ahead and hand over to Craig to talk through what we have seen through our customers' eyes and get that glimpse into our fantastic solution, Agility.
Excellent, thanks Melinda. Now, if any of you have ever watched any of our videos, you might recognize Melinda's voice. I'm also convinced that she's Siri, but yeah, that's still to be founded. But as Warren said, my name's Craig Tarr. I'm the COO and co-founder of GTconsult. And Agility has really been my baby right from the beginning. This has been a project that I've been playing with for a number of years before we actually productized it. And the reason why we did, because we had a whole lot of different customer experiences where we were called into customers to talk about project management and how exactly they'd manage their projects utilizing the tools at hand, like SharePoint as an example. So a lot of the questions often are around the out-of-the-box tools with SharePoint, as well as any of the enhancements with things like Project Server. So one of the, or a lot of the issues that we found around Project Server specifically had to do with clients' criticism saying, you know, for their needs, Project Server was just too complex. And you can understand that projects are run in businesses in different ways. You might have someone sitting in finance running a project, or someone in the IT team running a project, and the way that they run or dealt with can be vastly different, where your one department might be using a waterfall approach, whereas your other department might be using an agile approach. And they found that putting down Project Server, the installation was too complex. It seemed like an overkill for all of those different projects, and also just setting up the permissions for different project managers from different teams to start allocating resources and setting up budgets and all the rest just was too complex for their needs. I'm not saying that that's always the case with Project Server, and I think if you've got the right consultants in place, that it's a great choice in terms of a project management tool. But from what we were seeing with clients, to them it was just it was too much. They also said that the additional licensing and consulting cost to get it set up correctly could be quite onerous, and they also wanted a lot more dashboard visibility of the tools that they were utilizing. So what did we put into Agility? Well, the first thing that we looked at was building out a centralized dashboard, and this became very important to us, that we wanted to know all of the projects that were running in a specific department or all of your projects in general, and have just a snapshot of exactly what the health was for those projects. And that came through and through with all of the clients that we dealt with in terms of the functionality. The second was just simplistic project management, being able to throw together a project very easily, understand your resource allocations, and be able to farm out tasks to different areas. They also, one of the areas was to roll out to multiple teams without necessarily centralizing a portal. So the solution had to be easy enough that if we wanted to deploy it specifically for HR and keep IT completely separate, we were able to pick up the solution, drop one for HR, drop one for IT, and the two didn't affect each other. And they could centralize their own reporting and their own project management. One of the big things that we also found was that different clients use different help desks and task management tools. So we wanted a way to integrate to those task management tools and utilize what you've already got in place. So if you are currently managing all of your tasks within SharePoint in a task list somewhere, or you've got your help desk in SharePoint, we could quite easily access that information. And then once again, a single view of projects, tasks, and reports all together around a single project in a good, in an easy to view and good user interface. So without talking too much more into just why we're putting this together, what I'm going to do is actually show you a demo. So we're going to go across to the demo of Agility, and once we have shown you that, we'll open up the floor for any questions and if you think of any questions whilst you're going through the discussion, whilst I'm going through the demo, please don't hesitate to ask them, and we'll get to those at the end. Okay, so welcome to Agility. Agility is essentially our project management tool that we run within SharePoint. You'll notice that it's in SharePoint, although a lot of it doesn't look like SharePoint. What GTconsult is really good at is using out-of-the-box technology to build applications on top of SharePoint that have great user interface as well as great usability. We utilize REST API and different mechanisms so that anything that we build is usable both on Office 365 as well as on-premise, and can move to the next version of SharePoint quite easily. So anything that we build is completely upgradable due to the fact that everything that we build is out-of-the-box technology. And Agility is one of those examples. So what we're looking at here is essentially our dashboard of all of our projects. One of the things that I said was you wanted to see all projects in a single location and see, have an idea of the health of all of your projects. What you can see here is a list of all of our projects and whether they're on time, at risk, or alternatively overdue. And we try and make things that are overdue very visible with lots of flashy bits. The idea here is also that you can go and find additional information like creating a project, viewing your tasks, or viewing resource allocation straight from the dashboard at the top, or the ribbon as we like to call it. Now, Warren said that a lot of our implementations are built on top of Nintex, and this is one of the cases where we're utilizing both Nintex Forms as well as Nintex Workflow to assist us both in integration to our help desk where we store all of our tasks, but also for things like when we create a project, we utilize Nintex Forms to show us the information in a little bit more of a palatable form. So we get a lot of information starting off in our project information, but what we like to do is build this out in a wizard form, and have used Nintex Forms to do that. So as an example here, I'm opening up a new project, and I'm just going to type in here, new project. I'm going to choose a client, and the client can come from a client list that is either on the in your site itself or stored somewhere else, maybe in managed metadata. And then we can provide project phases. Now, what we've tried to do with the tool is make it so that anyone, no matter what your methodology is, can utilize the tool out of the box. So we'll deploy it. All you need to do is go and do some simple configuration. So as this example, we've got projects in a waterfall approach with investigation, initiation of planning, execution, project closure, etc. But if you wanted to put that into an agile approach, not a problem. You can literally go and create all of your own phases, and you can also specify your own values at runtime to go and just put what phase that project is in. We also like to categorize our projects. So Warren mentioned briefly A-Team and Umlindi, which A-Team is our services division, and Umlindi is our managed services and support division. And here we've got those categories. Obviously, if you want to put in different types of HR, IT, etc. projects, or alternatively, if you have your own categories, you can fill those in. We also have the prioritization of the project, definitions of the project, who the project manager is, what the project team is, how many hours you're budgeting, which could also be a cost, as well as anyone who might be involved in approvals. We've used the Nintex forms because there's also a lot more information that we want to gather here. Things like, what are our core goals? What critical success factors might we have for that project? As well as things like influencing factors, and quite importantly, starting to track when is that project starting, when's it planned to end, and we all know how projects go, so what's the actual start date once that planned project is actually kicking off. So once we've saved that, Nintex goes off and goes and creates some mechanisms for us, but essentially pulls together a project. So I'm going to show you one of our project sites. So this is the GT internal operations site. And as it loads there, you'll notice the first thing that it pulls up is basically some project details. So it tells me there who the client is, what the project number is, when the start date is, who the manager is, categories, etc. And straight away from my dashboard, I can start seeing what the overall health is and the task health is. So the overall health of my project over here, sitting at 60%, and that's made up of a algorithm that we've calculated, which is based on the number of tasks, the number of issues, the number of risks, and the number of defects that we might have within our project. We also have task health, which is a calculation of how many tasks are completed, how many are in progress, how many are at risk, and how many are overdue. Along the top, we have our ribbon, which firstly takes us to the overview, which is this page. And then within the ribbon, we can choose phases. So earlier I said you might have an agile approach or a waterfall approach, but you could be creating all of your own phases. And in this example, I'll show you where we've created phases for each of our systems. So we've got the agility system, the Aspire system, and the Attend system. So if you wanted to create agile phases, quite easy to pop those in, put in a description, and put in your percentage complete. At the same time, if I want to add a new phase, all I do is click on the Add New Phase button. It pops up on the screen that I'm in, automatically tells me which project this is for. I can put in a new phase, so let's call this SharePoint Vitals. I can put in a description for this and a percentage complete of that phase. Now what we like to do at GT is also make sure that your performance is really good. So you'll notice here that when that closes down, my page doesn't move away to another page. It stays where I am and just refreshes the data. So whilst you're enjoying the experience of the data coming back to you for your project, it's also being done in real time, just going and fetching the data and bringing it back to you. So along the top, we've got phases, we've got our tasks, we've got project risks, which shows us all of our issues, risks, defects. But we've also got announcements, contacts, and view contacts. Now, one of the things that you would have noticed is when I hit on the overview and takes me back to my home page of this project, that we get announcements in the top right corner. So we've stuck to the SharePoint way here of just showing announcements popping up and then moving off the screen. If they are urgent announcements, like you haven't got any phases or tasks, they will stay on your screen until you've dealt with those phases. So the system starts to monitor and manage itself. With our tasks, as I said, we can go and add tasks. And this is tied into our help desk. So this is actually pointing to a completely different system, but because it's utilizing our REST API, we can get all of the information for that form on the same task site. What this means is for our project managers, they can actually manage the project. Sorry, I just zoomed out there a bit. They can actually manage the project itself, while all of our users can just go and fill in the tasks that they're using in a single system. So any of our support desks, all of their tasks, all in the same system. And here we've got things like the task name, start date, due date, expected hours, who it's assigned to, descriptions, etc. So very much a normal SharePoint task. But some of the things that we've got in here are the phases, and you'll see straight away it's got the new SharePoint Vital phase, it's got Agility, Aspire, Attend. So this is reading all the information from our phases and automatically putting it into my help desk, which is sitting on another site. If we go and have a look at some of those tasks, so let's go and have a look at the active tasks. As this is moving through, this is also pulling the information from another site and shows me all of my active tasks. So we've got here the 2 testing tasks, the general tasks, etc. Now, everything that we build, as I said, utilizes that REST API and jQuery, so it's quite easy for us to go and start manipulating the data a lot faster than SharePoint normally would. So your experience is a little bit better in terms of managing the filtering and searching of any of this data. Okay, so just coming back in terms of the notifications, on our front page shows us any of our notifications for things like issues, risks, as well as the tasks and the overall health. But all of this information is sitting in lists within SharePoint, so it's quite easy for us to manipulate the data and start building out some reporting. So if we click on reporting, we'll go to the project health. And the project health brings us back all of the information relating to that project. So how many phases there are, how many tasks are in that phase, how many risks, issues, and defects are there, and coming up with that same calculation of the overall health. But if we look at the tasks, we can look at things like how many tasks are in progress, what's at risk, what's overdue, and then breaking it down into, well, what are the expected hours for this project? Well, at the moment, we're looking at 24. And what are the current billable hours? 3. So our total percentage complete is only 13% of this full project. We can also get down into depth of looking at what are over budget tasks and what are hours over budget, so we can start understanding the cost of running over a project. And this information lives in perpetuity because it's living in our lists. If we look at some of the other reports, we can go and have a look at the task report. It starts breaking down the tasks so I can understand, well, what is in progress? What's at risk, what's overdue, what's completed, and what's completed overdue. So these are tasks that might have been completed, but historically I can go back and see if they were overdue when they were completed. Finally, we've got a task matrix, which brings us back all of the tasks assigned in this project, as well as their health, so completed, overdue, in progress, at risk, etc. Once again, we've utilized the functionality so that we can quite easily choose to filter this information, or alternatively, if I want to look for just tasks relating to Aspire, as I type in the name Aspire, it automatically filters all of the information. So at the touch of a button, bringing me back much better reporting than we'd find in normal straight out of the box SharePoint. Okay, so in terms of things like the tasks and reporting, I think that's been displayed there. In terms of things like project risk, well, here we're looking at things like the issues, risks, and defects. The difference being there that an issue is a identified problem that you might be coming up against within the project. A risk being something that needs to be highlighted to the team that could cause problems within the project. And a defect is when you're running through user acceptance testing and the like, and you find a bug in the system, and you actually want to capture that defect so that someone can work on it. As you can see, all of these are assigned to someone with a status. Those statuses can be updated, and the information on the site will respond accordingly and change the health of that project accordingly. At the same time, we've got help and about information which will guide you through everything on agility. So if we have a look at the overall project help, this will take us through how to use agility, when to create phases, how to create tasks, issues, risks, etc., which really helps you through your process. If we go back to the home page, you'll also notice when we hit the home page that we get a different announcement up there. So we've got announcements per project and announcements for the overall project area, as well as a different help guide which will take us through exactly how to use agility and the different steps that we might want to utilize in agility, such as how to create announcements, how to create and look at my tasks, how to create a project. Okay. The final things that I want to show you are actually based on the home page as well. So we've got things like View My Tasks, which takes us through to a list of all of my tasks that might be sitting in the system. So if we click on View My Tasks, as it opens up, we can see that all of my tasks that are available from the help desk that might be related to the project that we've been working in, or might be related to some other work that I'm doing, who they're assigned to, what the status is, and what the due date is of any of those tasks. And I can go through and manipulate any of those tasks. Going back to the home page, we're just going to look at the final thing, which is viewing resource allocation. So I think quite importantly is when you're creating tasks, you might want to see who's got availability within your team. So we've built in the ability to view resource allocation across all the tasks within your organization. So you select view resource allocation, and it will ask you to select a specific user. So I'm going to type in there Craig Tarr, and it finds my username. And once it does that, I go to get resource allocation. The resource allocation brings back, sorry, my Windows 10 is going crazy here. My resource allocation brings back a calendar showing me all of the tasks for Craig Tarr over the next month. Now, we've also built this into our own proprietary calendar, which is utilizing a jQuery calendar called Full.io. And the reason why we like it is because it allows us to very quickly start manipulating things like the views. So if I go to the week view, shows me all of the days that I'm allocated there, as well as all of the hours. And if I go down to a day view, well, that'll also give me that information in a relatively quick format without having to change up the view as we need to in SharePoint. Also, if we go through to the month view and then click quite quickly through onto the next month, well, then I can start seeing the tasks for that next month, and it pulls back all that information relatively quickly. So in order to find resources quite easy for us to manage that information. And that's pretty much it for the demo of Agility and how to utilize SharePoint to actually build out that functionality without needing to deploy something like a project server on top of SharePoint, and using all of the out-of-the-box technology. So what that means really is that everything that in your project management suite, the next time you upgrade to SharePoint 2016 this year, you're not going to have to recreate or redeploy Project Server 2016 and move all of your data in there. It will move automatically with that upgrade from SharePoint 2013 to 2016. Or alternatively, you're deciding to go into the cloud and you want to move this onto Office 365, because it's simply built up of SharePoint lists, and I can show you that quickly. It is easy to migrate this to Office 365 utilizing a tool. You can come through, copy all of the document libraries, move them across, and all of the information works for you for Agility. So that's my demo. I'm now going to hand back over to Melinda. Thank you.
All right, good. So it's actually over to Warren, and I'm going to go through some of the questions that you guys have raised, and thank you for those. So question number one is the licensing model for Agility per seat, per concurrent user, or per server? So what we've done with all of our package solutions is we've got a per seat licensing model. So it's on a sliding scale. So we've got them in batches, user batches, so either 100, 250, 500, and so on. We've got it on a sliding scale for good reason. So it's $1 per user per month. If you take a number of solutions, it will take that total number of seats, so you can make use of that sliding scale. So just to lead into the second question is, do I need to purchase a Nintex license? We've got two models, one which includes a Nintex on a subscription-based model. So for each solution, the Nintex license will be included, so there will not be any capital outlay and huge costs to buy the full license of Nintex. However, if you already own the Nintex product within your environment, we have a second model which excludes the Nintex license as part of the SaaS model, which will obviously be a slight reduction in the price. Melinda, was there any other questions? Oh, sorry, there it comes. So we have a branded intranet with a custom global nav. Is there a way to integrate Agility into the existing custom sites? Craig, I'm going to hand that over to you.
Yeah, so basically what we've done in terms of Agility is we've built it on the stock standard Seattle master page. So there is absolutely no customization in terms of the look and feel. What you're seeing in terms of the ribbons, navigation, etc., will pull through regardless of your custom look and feel. So it will pick up whatever look and feel that you have. It's obviously going to keep the ribbons. You can change around the coloration and change it to look better in your custom site and meet your requirements. But essentially, it uses all of the buttons and the CSS style classes. So yeah, it will bring through its own style classes, but it'll extend whatever you've got in your current site.
Perfect. An additional question, Craig, which will be targeted to you. Can you target data in an external system to populate a drop-down in the form?
So a difficult one. Yes and no. If you wanted to build information in the form from a separate system, out of the box you can utilize business connectivity services, and you can create a business connectivity service column. Now that information we could tie into it. The nice thing here is because of everything that we've built being on SharePoint, it's quite easy for us to manipulate the data and customize Agility specifically to your needs. Now the information from a different system, definitely through BCS we can pull that through. However, if you have something like a back-end system that has an API that we can connect to via REST, well, then we don't even need to use BCS. If we want to directly call that information from SharePoint, yes, we can do that. The other interesting area, though, is if you look at Nintex Enterprise Forms, which is now bringing in the capability to call line of business applications from your SharePoint forms, that obviously provides the functionality. It just hasn't been built into this format of agility.
Perfect. Are all projects visible to everyone? What if I wanted to silo the projects by department?
Okay, so in terms of that, we can choose who wants to see or not see a project. When I was capturing the project, sorry, I didn't go into this in any great detail, but when I created the first project, there is a project manager and a project team. Now, that information is used to silo off who can see the relevant projects. We're quite open in terms of our projects at GT, so everyone sees everyone else's projects and everyone gets an understanding of where it is. That's just the way we work, the same as we use Yammer to communicate and all the rest. We're very open about that. But if you wanted to silo it off, definitely you can do. The other part of that is if you purchase Agility, well, it's quite easy to deploy it on one site for a specific department and deploy it on another site for another department, and those will obviously be siloed. The question comes in as to where your tasks live. So ours live in our help desk, which is a completely separate system. If yours are centralized tasks, well, then we don't necessarily have management over who sees those tasks. Whichever system you store your tasks in will keep that management. But if you use the out-of-the-box tasks in Agility, well, then whoever's got access to that site or to that project will only see those tasks.
Great. We use Citrian's social site, which is formerly NewsGator. Is there any conflict?
I honestly don't know Citrian. I need to do some research into that. Possibly if you could send me an email with where you think there might be a conflict, and I can answer that a little bit more directly. So if you want to contact me, Craig at GTconsult.com.
Fantastic. What versions of SharePoint does Agility run on? Can you acquire it for on-premise or only cloud usage?
It runs on both on-premise, on SharePoint 2013, SharePoint 2016, and SharePoint 2010.
Great. Are projects and details searchable within SharePoint's enterprise search?
Yes, they are. So everything that we store is still stored in lists. So even though it doesn't necessarily look like SharePoint, it is SharePoint. The whole platform is running on SharePoint 100%. So everything from security, version control, search, absolutely everything works just as it would normally in SharePoint.
Okay, excellent. Could you use the project information in web parts on other SharePoint sites?
So yes, definitely. Once again, if you can access the information either using, so on another site, you could either, if it's in the same site collection, you could use Content Query to go and gather the data. If you are wanting to show it on a different site, you could use Content Search. As long as you've got the access to the project material, you should be able to present it on Project Search. Or alternatively, if you want to get a little bit more fancy and utilize something like the REST API that we do, you can very easily pull that information onto the other site, very much like I'm pulling the task information, which sits in a completely separate site collection onto our site. That essentially becomes a web part that we utilize and is very easy to pull into another site. But for that, you might need a little bit of development, whereas the content search, you definitely won't.
Okay, I've got another question here. Does every project get its own subsite in SharePoint? And if so, is there a way to create site templates where we can configure libraries, views, and version settings?
Okay, so this is an interesting question because this is how Agility started out with creating a subsite per project. But what we found was that in doing so, it created a whole bunch of headaches in terms of managing the sites themselves. So if you made a change to a template, well, it didn't affect any of the existing sites that had already been created. So we redesigned it to actually run from a single site. However, it is possible to create it in another site. It is, however, possible to recreate it in the same way as Agility version 1 ran, but version 1.1 is running in a single site. But that does mean that you can create your own views. You can really manipulate the libraries as much as you'd want to, but those manipulations are going to show for absolutely everyone. If you were to install version 1 that still writes to the to separate sites, well, then you can go and change it as much as you like, and you can mess around with the lists and views and all of the rest.
Perfect. If a type of project has a specific set of tasks that you always assign, can you build a project type out to automatically add the tasks required?
So yes, this isn't a function that we've currently built in. We have built in the ability to extend the phases. So for instance, if you've got a specific approach like an agile or a waterfall approach, you can automatically pre-configure phases for a project. I can't see why you couldn't do the same for tasks. It's just we haven't come across a example yet where there are the same tasks, often the same phases, but not necessarily the same tasks. But yes, seeing as it's built on Nintex, it's quite an easy customization to get that to work.
And how easy is it to customize the reporting on this?
So the reporting is built using the REST API and a couple of JavaScript libraries. If you needed to customize which fields there are, that is a very easy customization. If you want to change the ability of which reports you want to see, as in changing out a pie graph or a line graph, that is a little bit more difficult and requires technical knowledge just in terms of building that out. But we can look at that in terms of a phase 2 as something to actually enhance on the product.
Fantastic. It looks like those are all of the questions. So guys, thanks everyone for your time. Please follow us.
Sorry, Warren, just to let me just jump in. Sorry, just quickly. In terms of the information that is presented in any of the reports, that's all pushed out into a table, which essentially can also be extracted into Excel, and using Power BI, you can manipulate any of the data as much as you like. So that's also a capability there.
Fantastic. So guys, thanks very much again for everybody's time. I hope you guys got value out of today's session. We ask you guys to follow us at GTconsult, or if there's any further questions or you guys need pricing or a one-on-one demo around the product set, please feel free to reach out to us at info@gtconsult.com. The webinar will also be going up on our website should anyone wish to view it again. But yeah, please feel free to reach out to us. We'll be happy to chat to you. But I think that concludes this evening's webinar. Thanks everyone for your time.